Alright, so this is my first car, and I want to keep this car as long as humanly possible, even if it doesn't make financial sense at the time. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, they get their first car, it's like, usually it's a hand-me-down, it's something from a family member, or they're able to, you know, work a side gig and save up enough money to buy their first car, and it's usually nothing special. Except in my case. In my case, this car is special to me, and not because of the actual car. It's not that cool, to be honest. It is a 1989 Nissan Sentra, and there is nothing inherently cool about this car. There is no cool features, it has no unique tech, it's like, there's nothing special to it. But I want to keep it, and the reason I'm even making this video about why I want to keep my first car is because I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be moving abroad, and I am going to be living in Japan for the next 4 to 5 years. That is my general timeline, and in that time, I'll probably buy another car. There'll be a hint on what that will be in another video, but I want to keep this car, which doesn't make financial sense because I won't be driving this car and I won't be making videos on this car, so it won't be making me money. It will just be sitting and costing me. But there's so much more I want to do with this car, including a Kaminari body kit. I want to do an E30 M3 wing. I want to do a full paint match of the bumper and the kit when I eventually do that. I want to do an SR20 swap, and I think those ideas and all of that is feasible, but after I move and I come back, which again is probably 5 years. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth keeping my first car, and if you have a first car that has, you know, a little bit of something that you want to keep, I think it's worth holding on to, even if it doesn't make sense to keep. I'm also going to give you guys a general update on this car. I'm going to go around and show you guys a couple things because I think it's important for me to document where this car is basically ending. If you guys have been following the channel, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed all the little bits and bobs I've done on this car for videos, but after a few more things, this car is basically going to be done, and the channel is going to pivot, and it is all going to be the JDM car scene, the student life, and the foreigner kid living in Japan channel. So thank you guys for watching the Sentra. I hope you enjoyed the videos on it. I'm going to show you a little bit about it. So I want to start with kind of the things I did first on this car, and one of the very first things I did on this car was actually putting in my dad's old Momo steering wheel from his GTI. If anybody's wondering, this is a Momo Monte Carlo, and then this is an actual OEM Momo hub. They make these, I believe they're the exact same for the B12 and for the Pulsar and maybe for the B13, but we got a genuine Momo hub, the Momo wheel, and then I believe this is actually a Wolfsburg logo. So we got the horn button there, and then one of the other big things I did was I installed this tachometer. So I had this 3D printed mount that I half designed and a friend half designed, and then that was printed out, and then this Bosch tack was wired up into the coil. But because it's a base model, we don't have a tack, so now we got one over here. And then little button right there. That little button is the Hella 550 fog lights up front. These are mounted straight into the front bumper, and at one point these were yellow, but I cleared them out recently. And speaking of clearing things out, we've got hard-bodied turn signals that are cleared out, Euro spec, and then the JDM Sunny Grill, which I think you guys saw. We've got some license plate block-offs, and also the fender mirrors. The fender mirrors were one of the very first thing. Because this is a base model, it didn't come with a passenger side mirror from the factory. There's a Nissan block-off plate right here, and so I've always wanted fender mirrors on a car, and I thought, well, we've only got one mirror. Let's put two mirrors on and just make them fender mirrors. So this is one of the first things. We also did the rack, because I go biking, so we needed some bike racks. This custom window banner, which I made. And then for the exterior, the only other thing is the wheels, which are pretty recent, so I'll tell you guys about those in a little bit. The hood popped open now. Under the hood, you guys have seen lots of videos, but we've got, well, I guess I should point out now we're on Rev 9 B13 coils. And then for the engine bay, it's just been general cleanup for the most part. I resealed the engine, regasketed it, sealed up the transmission, At one point I had a coolant leak that was sealed, and at one point my brake lines were bad, so those have all been redone. This car does not drop a drop of anything, which is like, for a 35-ish-year-old car, like, it's probably the biggest flex, is the fact that this car does not leak coolant, oil, gear oil, nothing. The rear end has all been redone, so we have new drums, shoes, springs, bushings, wheel bearings, seals, snap rings. We're about to do the front, which will be one of the last things I do on this car, but everything I've done on this car is to kind of get it to as good as it possibly can be before it sits. And then, I know you guys are probably tired of seeing stuff about these wheels, but I'll mention it. These are an original set of Desmond Rega Masters. There's 2 other videos talking about these wheels specifically, but these things are absolutely phenomenal. If you guys are wondering, they are 15 by 6.5 plus 45. You need a really positive offset on front wheel drive cars to get an actually good fitment. And then in the back, we've got the same exact thing, but with an 11mm spacer. This car has given me essentially 0 trouble in the entire time that I've owned it. We've had a few leaks when I first got it, but other than that, this thing has been rock solid. And I think it's another reason why I want to keep this car. There's really no, other than the cost of, you know, storing it somewhere, it's not worth it to me to sell. I bought it for $1,900 like 4 years ago, and it had a little bit over 80,000 miles on it. We're now at 114, and with all the maintenance I've done on this thing, with all the videos, with all of the history and the lore about this car, like, it doesn't seem right to sell. So we're gonna keep this car until one day we can make it really cool. If you guys are interested about all the Japan stuff I talked about earlier, make sure to subscribe. I've got a pretty cool video talking about that in a little bit here. That's about it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe. Do you think I'm making the right decision holding on to this car? Or do you think I should sell it for, you know, $2.5 grand and, you know, not have a car sitting around? But thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.